Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Prince Muzungwana with your 1:30 p.m. bulletin. Barcelona now favours to sign Manchester City forward Raheem Sterling after his comments yesterday revealed that he would be open to playing abroad should he not get more game time at the Etihad Stadium. Sterling, who still has 2 years left on his contract, has only started one Premier League game all season after the arrival of Jack Grealish has meant this 26-year-old has been pushed out of the lineup. In an interview yesterday, the England international revealed that he would relish a new challenge outside of England.
As I said, as an English player, all I know is the Premier League, all you know is the Premier League, and I've always, had something that, okay, maybe one day I'd love to, play abroad and see how I would come up against that challenge.
Southampton manager Ralph Hasenhüttl has been charged by the FA for comments made about Mike Dean after their loss against Chelsea. The comments in question were regarding James Ward-Prowse's red card following a VAR check while scores were still level at 1-1. Chelsea went on to win the game 3-1, adding to the Austrians' frustrations. The 54-year-old has until 19th of October to respond. Southampton will be without their captain tomorrow when they face Leeds United, and they are still looking for their first win of the season. The Saints have drawn 4 and lost 3 of their games so far and are just 1 point above the relegation zone. Failure to win could see them fall into the bottom 3 by the end of the weekend. Also in the Premier League, Newcastle take on Spurs in what is set to be Steve Bruce's 1000th game in charge of management. New owner Amanda Staveley confirmed this afternoon that Bruce will take charge of the match, despite questions over his future under the new regime. Eastleigh face Folkestone at the Silver Lake Stadium tomorrow in the FA Cup 4th qualifying round. A win for the Spitfires will put them into the hat for the first round as they hope to repeat last year's impressive run that saw them get knocked out to League One Crewe Alexandra in the second round replay. In boxing, Chris Eubank Jr. returns to action tomorrow as he faces Wanik Adjan at the Wembley Arena. The British middleweight from Brighton hasn't fought since his points victory over Marcus Morrison in May. Eubank Jr. was scheduled to fight 2 weeks ago, but Sven Iber withdrew due to COVID-19. Then his replacement, Anatoly Moratov, pulled out the day of the bout for medical reasons. Eubank Jr. and Awijan are due to weigh in within the next hour. On to the Chinese Grand Prix, which is expected to be dropped from 2022 Formula One calendar. The Shanghai race is set to be axed due to the coronavirus restrictions still in place in China. It will be replaced by the Emilia-Romagna GP at Imola on 24th of April. Formula One will publish a record 23 race calendar starting on 20th of March 2022 and ending on 20th of November 2022. On to the tennis. Tennis star Emma Raducanu has had to pull out of the upcoming Kremlin Cup. The 18-year-old won the US Open back in June, but has only played one competitive match since then. She cited, "Tournament schedule changes are the reason for her withdrawal and is looking to return to the WTA Tour in the coming weeks." On to the rugby. Welsh rugby international Hallam Amos has announced he will retire from the sport at the end of the season. Amos represented Wales on 25 occasions, including appearances across 2 Rugby World Cups. He recently completed his clinical medical exams and told Cardiff and the Welsh Rugby Union he will hang up his boots in June of 2022. Over to go-karting now for a remarkable story about a woman called Amanda Tricker. The 38-year-old from Reading only began her karting career last year, but is already on the verge of qualifying for the national go-karting finals. We have a great package about in our 3:30 bulletin, so stay tuned for that. Elsewhere, the Cricket County Championship is set to revert back to 2 divisions from 2022. Clubs have voted to move back to a 10-man Division 1 and an 8-man Division 2. From next year, 2 clubs will be relegated and 2 promoted as the old format comes back to play. In Solent Sports News, both men's and women's football teams got off to an impressive start to their Bucks League campaign. The men's team won 7-0 on the road at Bournemouth University, while the women won 6-0 at home to Margins. Both teams are back in league action on Wednesday. Speaking of the Solent sport, the University Sport Complex celebrates its second birthday this weekend. The £100 million campus opened on the 18th of October 2019 and has hosted some of the best sport the university has to offer. Keep an eye out for the package in our 3 o'clock bulletin. Our final 3 p.m. bulletin feature will include a story on women's participation in sport, featuring interviews from Solent ladies basketball and a data analyst. Tune in later for more on that story. That's all from me now. Tune in again at 3 o'clock for another live bulletin here on Solent Sports News.